Hello and welcome to episode 11 of the Flashback Generations Imperial Assault
Morning.
crusade to get through all the characters. As per usual, we're going to focus on the skirmish side of things. There's myself, Pete, and the car present here. We're going to talk about Dengar, the most lame of the bounty hunters, in my opinion.
Lame? Oh, surely not.
No, I mean fluff-wise. I always like that.
Yeah, he's some sort of bleeding heart. I don't know the fluff, but
here's like a guy in battle armor, like robots and monsters, and a guy in a turban.
Well, his bandages from his many injuries. I thought, well, never mind.
Yeah,
he's a loser.
That's my point. He's no one's favourite bounty hunter, is he?
That's it. You got the cartoon bandages on, the damage.
Yeah. So anyway, let's just jump into his character stats and talk about him. So he costs 7 points. He's a scum only card and he's unique. He's got +2 accuracy all the time, and he's got a surge to do +2 damage. He's got 8 health, 4 speed, 1 black dice defense, and he attacks with green-yellow. So, in my opinion, the green-yellow is actually quite a surge heavy, but yeah, it's a little bit on the weak side. Like, that's a lot of surges with very little damage potentially.
Yeah, he does get the +2 damage surge ability, doesn't he?
That's where he's really hoping to put that in there first. Really,
yeah,
you can see that every time he attacks, he'll be using that. And a +2 accuracy he's going to need all the time because he's never going to hit anything.
Yeah.
The green dice has got numbers on every single side, but not
the
high numbers.
Ones, isn't it? It's the odd 2.
Yeah. Neither dice is brimming with high numbers, not like the blue dice. So he's a bit of a close to medium range fighter, if you like. But he's got nothing else to actually boost his accuracy. His special abilities is he's got contempt while attacking. If the target does not have a harmful condition, apply +1 surge to the attack result. That's pretty good because most of the time. I'll skip the rest and we can talk about what else he does. So, surge punishment. After the attack resolves, if the target suffers 1 or more damage, choose 1 harmful condition. The target gains that condition. This ability can be triggered multiple times in the same attack. In my opinion, then, this guy he's one of the first guys you activate, and he'll get off the stun and he'll get off any other things you want to put down. It's that with contempt, so you get the free surge.
Yeah. That's a surge trickster, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's got a green and yellow dice, so yellow being the optimal surge dice, and then green, has it's got a few on it too.
Yeah.
So this guy can really, really just go surge crazy. He's a bit of a one-trick pony in that regard. His health 8 doesn't do him any favors, really.
No, one black dice.
One black die, and the better guys, IG and Baba, they got ways to regenerate.
Yeah.
They can. They got more health.
This guy is in bandages, and that's reflected in his stats, isn't it? Really, you're going to lose him in a lot of games, I think. But what can he do before you lose him? Yeah.
So, I actually think that this guy is very, very future-proof. If you look at it as the fact he's just going on harmful conditions, and if they keep on releasing by the time we're in wave 10.
Yeah.
And there's 5 new conditions, and they all start getting a bit stronger but harder to pull off.
Yeah.
Dengar is actually a guy that you might start looking back at and going, hang on, this guy can actually get these conditions off that weren't available at the time. So in that regard, I think that Dengar's going to perhaps be stronger in the future. And he'll have more options as well.
That's it. We've only got 3 conditions at the moment, which is stunned, bleeding and weakened. Weakened is a bit rubbish, but you go in with this guy first and just reading some road signs. If you go in with this guy first and get a stun on some big character, which is pretty easy to do with this guy, all he's got to do is shoot him, hit him. His +2 accuracy helps with that, and then he's got +1 stun, and you're probably going to get at least 1 other stun, aren't you? If not 2 other stuns. So suddenly you can put down a stun, a bleed, and maybe +2 damage to boot as well.
He'll need the +2 damage, I imagine, every time he attacks.
Yeah.
So
you're messing up somebody's day as long as you activate Dengar early on.
He's 7 points. Is that worth it? That's what I think the thing is.
It feels a little bit expensive for what he does.
I feel like that too. 7 points, if you think about it, will buy you in two of the rebel saboteurs, for instance.
Yeah.
You know, it'll buy you elite troops and doubles and people who are doing a lot of damage and double activations.
Yeah.
Or at the same time, you're going to get 2 characters in for the same 7 points. You'll easily get 2 characters. You know, you'll get Gideon and whatever his name is. That.
Makapaka.
Yeah. Loku, whatever.
Oh, the other one. Yeah.
You know, so that's 7 points. So. The thing with Scum and Villainy is he's kind of a fluff choice as well.
It'd be nice to stun a Bantha or something, early on. If you can get Dengar to do, something really powerful, a Luke, a Bantha, a Royal Guard champ, you get a stun and a bleed on him, and then Dengar just sneaks back round the corner with his remaining moving points if you play it right. Could be very powerful, but
yes. So
it's one of those I'd want to road test it.
So I think that he'll actually work better against a more elite list. If you're playing against a trooper spam, trooper spam, he's got a worse attack, and he's actually not really bringing much to the table.
Yeah. So you can stun and bleed a stormtrooper, but who cares if there's another 12 of the guys lurking about?
That's it precisely. So let's talk about what list he's good in, what list he's bad in. So he's good in a fluff list, but he's not actually good in it. I don't think he's just he's part of it. He's part of the that quartet, isn't he?
Part of the gang, yeah. Bosk's on the way, isn't he, with Bespin Wave?
It'll be interesting to see how Bosk ups the ante, because obviously Bosk is 8 points.
That's what I suspect he may. I mean, I've not looked at all the cards together, but he may be designed to help them out. He's kind of like the aggressive support dude for the Bounty Hunter gang, but I don't know. I'd have to look at all the cards, and I've only seen bits of Bosk. So.
Yeah. So Dengar, as we've just covered already, he's a little bit light, crappy against a trooper spam. So if you know that that's what you're playing, he's a guy who's going to do very little.
Yeah.
But he's against big creatures and big guys. When you actually want to get those surges off, he can be effective.
He'd be good because he's slowing them down, attacking your guys, and he's helping your other guys to damage. I would think.
I don't think he's not an optimal tournament choice. That's how I feel about him.
Yeah.
But I do think his rules are pretty good. They didn't make him super powered, which is a good thing, because I didn't want to see him better than Boba Fett or the favourites or IG.
Well, that's it. They probably looked at him and thought, this guy's got to be weaker than the other guys for the fluff reasons. And what can we give him? So this is it. He is the master of surge abilities.
He is.
And conditions.
All right. Okay. Let's jump on to the command cards now. First off, we've got Merciless. This is a hunter card. It costs 1 point, and you can have 2 in your deck. It's a hunter card only. I think I just said that. It costs an action to use this card, but choose an adjacent hostile figure. That figure's player may discard 2 cards from the top of his command deck. If he does not, your player gains 3 VP. I think that's an interesting card. It costs a point.
Yeah.
And it costs an action.
Yeah.
I find that that's a hard combination to really warrant worth it, especially as well as it has to be adjacent to you.
Yeah, so this is when the fight's well underway. It's not early game when you've got nothing else to do. You've got to be in the fight. So do you really want to be using an action to mess about with that sort of thing?
Well, I'll tell you where you use it. You use it with the Trandoshan Hunters, because you want to get them next to people anyway.
Yeah.
The problem is that the Trandoshan Hunters are awesome for shooting at people, and the Trandoshan Hunters, once you go to someone and you shoot them, they're discarding 1 card anyway. But then you're going to do damage, then you're doing, so you're doing that on top of all of this. And I feel like this is kind of, this is so you don't attack them, but instead you just make them discard 2 cards. I'm kind of dismissing the fact that your opponent's probably not going to try and give you 3 VP.
Yeah. I mean, you might want to pull this one out when you're at 37 victory points. But by that time, you should be, you're very probably winning.
Oh, or you know how the game's going.
Yeah, super close.
Or you're at 37 VPs, and your opponent's just going to throw away 2 cards. Most of the time, they'll throw away 2 cards and go, I don't really care.
Yeah, because by that time, they've probably seen all their best cards.
You know if you won or lost. So, or if you do it early game, I feel like you've run in with your Trandoshan Hunter, you've used it, and it's just like, that was instead of your attack. Same with Dengar. You've run up to someone.
Yeah.
Instead of attacking them and getting the surges and stuns and bleeds and all this kind of stuff that you want to get on them,
Yeah.
instead you've actually just made them dismiss 2 cards and then you get killed. It's a bit of a suicidal card. I'm not a fan actually, to be honest. 1 point. I think there's too many constraints on it to make it work.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we've got Capture the Weary. It's a hunter card. You can only have 1 in your deck. Again, it costs an action. Choose an adjacent hostile figure. That figure becomes weakened. If that figure is already weakened, it suffers 2 strain instead.
Right. So.
I think this one suffers the exact same reason again.
Yeah.
It costs an action, has to be an adjacent figure, and it only suffers 2 strain. So you're giving your opponent the option. Do you want to chuck away 2 cards, or do you want to take 2 damage?
Yeah.
You could be doing 2 damage without actually doing this using this as an action, as a card. It just lightens your deck. Your 15 cards. It's one of your choices. I just don't get it.
And plus, I mean, to get the full benefit, you have to have weakened on him already. So that means that weakened is nothing great.
Weakened is actually, as we've already covered, is our we kind of poo-poo it a bit.
Yeah, well, if this card's in your hand, you might even be using Dengar to try and get a weakened on an enemy, so that you can then use this card. But it seems a lot of effort.
A lot of effort to get yourself next to it again. No, I'm not. I'm a massive not fan of this card.
Yeah.
I think there's too many conditions to put something on somebody that's a bit of a rubbish thing. And a weakened on a Bantha, for instance, is useless because he doesn't even roll a dice.
Yeah.
So whatever. All right, and the last card, we're not going to poo-poo this one. It's Payback. This is Dengar's unique card. Costs 2 points, and he can only have 1 of them. Use after an attack targeting you resolves to interrupt or perform an attack targeting the attacker. Apply +2 surge to the attack result. This is awesome. So someone actually shoots you, and you shoot them right back, basically. With
you have
+2
to
surge.
survive the shot, yeah.
Yeah, you do, yeah, because it's an interrupt, so it'll be afterwards.
Yeah.
But this is still very, very strong because it, apply +2 surge. Dengar's going to have a field day with this.
Well, that's 3 surges then he's got before he's rolled a dice.
If they don't have a surge, yeah. He's got 3 surges. He's rolling this. He's looking at it. He's laughing because of the amount of extra stuff he can do.
Yeah.
One thing I've kind of thought is if you've got all these surges and you've got crazy with surges, it might be if they roll like a 3 block with a black die.
Yeah.
And you don't do very much damage. You're going to have a lot of surges rolling about, but no actual damage.
Yeah, no straight up damage. You've got to put a condition on. You've got to get 1 damage on, haven't you? So as long as you get the 1, you can then go right. I'm going to stun you, going to bleed you, going to weaken you.
You should get it off, but you know what? There's a lot of cards in there now that make people a lot more survivable. Sticking C3PO behind people to give them +1 block, or surge blocks, and all these guardians and stuff coming out. It's very it's not guaranteed.
It's getting tough to hurt people, especially on the red side.
Yeah, so I don't think that this is necessarily a brilliant card, but it's really good for 2 points, and I would pretty much guarantee that whoever shoots him, you're going to throw this down nearly straight away.
Yeah.
All right, and let's talk about the model.
I was looking at the model yesterday actually because it's been sat on my painting table for ages. Yeah, it's Dengar from the movie. Because in the movie, all we ever see him doing is standing there with his gun, looking sulky.
Yeah.
In his bandages and his backpack and his little armour and that. And that's what they've done with the model.
I think I said it earlier though. He's no one's favourite bounty hunter, and
I think a lot of people like his moody mysteriousness. He does have some traction, especially when you look into his backstory and there's some nonsense with a wife and blah blah blah.
I don't know.
They built a load of tragedy around him. He's a tragic figure. He's lost his personality or something like that.
Probably, isn't he?
And doesn't he just look like it?
He's a ruthless killer. I don't know.
He's a ruthless killer with a bitter and sad heart. But yeah, the figure's just stood there as is in the movie. Good job.
I think it could have been more interesting, to be honest. To me, it's like
put him in the pose that he's not been seen in before.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10.
Yeah, I think they've just done it. Dengar done tick.
So to you, it's a better.
It's probably out of 10.
Yeah,
probably 6. It is Dengar. You can see it's Dengar. Oh, he's kind of walking along actually.
He is, yeah. He's
kind
got
of
his
striding
gun. He's got
forward
his
slowly.
gun.
Well, there you go. It's new
parallel.
territory for Dengar. I mean, his action figures are always just stood there with his gun.
That's his personality.
Yeah.
In a nutshell. All right. Okay. Well, there you go, guys. We've discussed Dengar in a little bit of depth there. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.
Cheerio.
Bye.